You don't break into my house, make a mistake, and then sue me because as an American, as an American, I use my freedom of speech and I talk about how you wasn't supposed to be in my house in the first place. And I use my talent to pay for the damages you brought. I didn't go down here and sue the police department.
You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bat. Bah. It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we got to do. You got to hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. Think rich in 2026. Think rich in 2026. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. We back with another one, man. Hey, make sure you tap in. Make sure you tap in, man, to my TikTok, man. We doing a lot of cool stuff over there, especially live trash or pass, debates, panels, all that stuff. Make sure you tap into my TikTok, man. But also, we back with another one. We got some AfroMan stuff going on. I'm not familiar with this case. I'm not familiar, but we here. If you know anything about what was going on, drop it in the comments. Drop it in the comments. But you make it to the end of this one, you a real one for real. Make sure you put that in the comments. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
My only response to men coming through my house with guns was a rap song and some t-shirts. Are you disconnecting my video camera?
This is the start of a rap video, but it's also a scene out of AfroMan's real life.
Oh.
My neighbors called me and told me that the police were all over my property.
Adams County Sheriff's deputies raided his home last summer.
You know, swooping around and looking all in my closet and everything.
According to AfroMan, they were looking for drugs and evidence of kidnapping.
They thought I had a secret dungeon underneath my house or something.
No charges were filed, but he says the raid left significant damage and hurt his reputation. He captured the raid on these security cameras in and around his home. Footage that's now gone viral. Part of his music videos for songs he wrote about the raid.
I needed a quick way to pay for their damages, and I didn't want it to come out of my pocket. I thought that'd be more positive than, you know, throwing a trash can at the police door.
Now, those songs and their merchandise are the subject of a lawsuit filed against him by Adams County deputies who say he used their likeness without permission. In court documents, deputies claim they've suffered humiliation and received death threats.
My biggest complaint is my doors, my baseboards, you know, disconnecting my video cameras and stealing my money.
Oh.
And then not apologizing.
Stealing the bread. Do your own research.
We started this time, I talked about this case was about freedom of speech. But let's talk about what it's also about. It's also about music. Not all music is tasteful. Not everybody likes all music. There's some songs I hate. I think we can find plenty of people that find songs they do not like. But Mr. Foreman, Joe, is a rapper and comedian. It's what he's done his whole life is rap, make songs. We got to think of what rap is, because music does not exist in a vacuum. Music evolves over time. Take a look at jazz. It's evolved. At one time, it was distinct in a certain subculture, and it has now expanded. Rap is the same. Rap started out as a means for people to express social commentary, opinions through entertainment. Look at the song by NWA. Or they call it Fuck the Police.
He said it.
I said that right?
He said it.
It's a social commentary.
Said that I say it right.
On what was going on in their lives. Their personal effect, the personal things happening to them, combined with entertainment, which unfortunately is exaggeration. Opinion, nothing of fact in that song. It's a commentary on society. And so when you look at rap, you see that over and over again. I had my secretary print me a couple songs, rap songs, while I was pouring a cup of coffee.
Okay.
And the first one was Carly B.
WAP? Stop it.
I find it bad to say what WAP.
Stop it. So he drinking coffee and the first thing, the lyrics that he sees is the Cardi B is WAP is crazy. WAP is crazy.
Means but. It's a popular song. I think it's somewhat derogatory. But then again, I'm not the audience for that song. And I know that. I know nothing in that song. Nothing talking about is true. I know it's entertainment. I know it's social commentary. Miss Grooms testified even her students knew that at a young age. The same thing I knew when I was watching Johnny Carson, The Late Night Show, and SNL, Saturday Night Live, with my grandfather when I was a kid. That's all entertainment. They make fun of everybody for entertainment. And some of it is a social commentary. But it is not fact. And everybody knows that. Nobody looks at Lil Wayne's song Pussy Monster and says there's a monster in that song. Everybody knows it's exaggeration for entertainment. Is he commenting on something? Sure. But it's not fact.
Pussy monster.
And I can keep going. Megan Thee Stallion with sex talk. I mean, it just goes on. They use derogatory language. It's designed to entertain. Drew Hastings, former mayor of Hillsborough, was a comedian. I got to go to one of his stand-ups. Some of it was funny, some of it wasn't. Some of his jokes, like those of Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, some of them are not tasteful, but they're still jokes. They're not facts. And we know that. That's what a reasonable person listening to that would understand. And that's the point.
Reasonable.
This is not a vacuum. We don't live in a vacuum. Let's face it, if we lived in a vacuum, we'd all be dead because we couldn't breathe. So we live in a world full of everything, where we see things. We watch SNL. We know it's entertainment. We know it's going to pick on people. We understand that they're picking on public officials. Hell, they picked on Joe. They pick on Donald Trump all the time, Sleepy Joe. I mean, go down the list, even Teflon Ron was made fun of. So as you go back, nobody thinks that's fact. Nobody's going to take it that way. When they post their clips on YouTube, when they post their clips on Facebook, people don't look at it and go, that's the truth. No, they understand it's comedy. They understand they're going to talk about it going forward. And if you look at his posts, you see the little signs of that too. Iteration. Things that you see in a song. I mean, because after all, you know, a song's catchy, right? It has beat, song, you know, words rhyme. You know, she thinks my tractor's sexy, and, you know, it sticks with you. When we listen to Lemon Pound Cake, you heard the iteration. You heard how it came together as entertainment. So we don't exist in a vacuum, and a reasonable person doesn't exist in a vacuum. As the judge has said, you are a reasonable people. You get to decide what's reasonable, which means you get to use your experience. You get to use your understanding of what those are, of your understanding of Joe, of your understanding of rap music, music in general. I'm not going to sit here and say that these 7 people were happy about what happened to them. I'm not going to say that. That'd be stupid. But what I am going to say is they are public officials. We see it on the news all the time, public officials made fun of.
That is very true. That is.
It says,
Yes,
what is it? Would you read it for us?
they stole my money.
Okay. Go ahead and play it.
Videos selling my proof. How can you take me to court when you stole my money and it's $400 short?
Wow.
You vandalized my property, and you filed a lawsuit properly. I'm a rapper, so I'm rapping. What? I can't talk about what happened. Videos I exposed my closet.
So what does that say? Sorry. What did you read? Could you read what that said?
Yeah, Brian Newland stole my money.
Brian Newland stole
from
my
me.
money.
Oh, he put his name in there.
And that was just published in the last few days, as far as you know?
He
Yes.
put his name in there.
Can you take me to court when you stole my money and it's $400 short? You vandalized my property,
I think that's enough for now.
I'm a rapper, so I'm rapping. What? I can't talk about what happened. Videos.
Wow.
And that was the same video, obviously. Does it tell where that was posted?
It looks like this one is on YouTube.
What effect did it have on you when you saw these posts?
I was angry, sad, depressed, upset.
Why were you sad or upset? Isn't it just somebody exaggerating or making jokes or making a comment?
I didn't find it funny at all. I work in law enforcement, have kids, have friends, family. I was involved in the schools. And then I'm being blasted all over social media for the entire United States. I've had comments made to me since day one.
Who stole the money then? The money was stolen.
If you want the most recent example, yesterday there was a cheer competition in North Adams. I walked my 3-year-old son in to watch his sister cheer, and somebody asked me if that was another little boy.
Yesterday?
Yesterday.
Whoa.
What competition?
At the North Adams cheerleading competition.
What other examples?
Every time you go to an event, another comment's made or somebody says something. Another one I can recall was meet the team night for my daughters. We was in line to get slushies and people were making comments behind me.
What comments?
Just called me a thief and why was I there? And then started playing some of his songs on their phones.
What is going on? What?
I got high.
Because I got high.
Because I got high. And do you think it's accurate to say that that song has had over 300 million views on YouTube?
Sounds right.
You have a large presence on social media, obviously, correct?
Depends on your definition of large. There's bigger people than me, but I'm all right.
And on Instagram, is it fair to say that you have 247,000 followers?
Yeah, I just got some of them the other day.
You got new ones coming all the time?
Yes. Not all the time. Just here lately.
Because the trial's coming up?
Yeah, all the publicity from the officer's lawsuit and me is running up my numbers.
Yeah.
You remember in your deposition when I asked you why did you bring the news when you picked up the money?
Yeah, I didn't want to get beat up or Epstein at the sheriff's station after I seen him running around my house with AR-15s. So that's why I brought the news and my attorney. So to make sure I got out of that place with my money.
You brought the news to protect you physically.
Yeah.
Wow.
You didn't bring the news because you already knew there was a miscount and you were going to make.
I didn't know nothing about the discount. I didn't know. I figured they stole my money. They turned my cameras off. So if you turn my cameras off, you must got something bad in mind. So yeah, I'm accusing them of, they turned my cameras off. I can't see what they're doing.
So your testimony under oath here today to these 10 jurors is that you brought the news when you picked up your money to protect you physically from being beat up or shot by the sheriffs, right?
Yes.
All right.
And they volunteered the information that the money wasn't right. That's just an extra something we found out. But I came with my attorney and the news to make sure the people running around my house with guns didn't take me into jail and do something.
You had a safe in your home, correct?
2 of them.
2 safes.
What happened? Where did this come from? What is?
I'm compiling all of the best quotes from the AfroMan trial to put them in a transcript video so we have them all in one place. But I told you all already that the only witness that the defense team called was the ex-wife. And I mentioned that in my last videos, but what I didn't mention is the restraining order situation. Please watch this. Police officer Sean Grooms is one of the cops who sued AfroMan. His entire basis for monetary relief from AfroMan is that his marriage crumbled like a Nature Valley bar after AfroMan started talking bad about him online. He says this under oath during his deposition.
What did she say exactly that this played into the divorce?
She was tired of hearing about it. People asking her, was her husband a thief? How could he do something like this?
So AfroMan's defense team calls Sean Grooms' ex-wife to the stand. As everyone knows, the defense team gets to ask her questions first. That's called direct examination. But after that is cross-examination, which is done by the plaintiff's attorneys. This is on direct.
Ms. Grooms, has Mr. Foreman's posts about Sean or any of the general posts about the Adams County Sheriff's Department as a whole affected your life any at all?
No.
Would you? I don't want you to go into too many details, but is it fair to say that Mr. Foreman, the posts about the police department, everything had not a damn thing to do with your relationship between you and Sean and that came to an end?
No, it did not.
So the posts never affected your life, never affected your marriage?
No.
Wow.
Okay.
So he lied?
So any statement to the contrary would be false?
Yes. That was the defense team's last question on direct. They said, thank you so much. It's now the police officer's attorney's turn. And this is the very first question that they ask her.
You never sought a protective order against your ex-husband, did you?
Yes, I did. When we divorced, the divorce, yes. I had a restraining order.
You got a restraining order?
Yes, I did.
There was no mention of the restraining order that she sought against her ex-husband on direct. The jury did not know that before the plaintiff's attorney asked the question. The way he asked that, I'm like, okay, if you knew that the answer was yes, that she definitely did, do you think that that's somehow... the only thing that I could fathom is that he wanted to try to make her not credible, impeach her is what we call it in the legal field, in front of the jury to say, oh, she's not a credible witness, because obviously she has a vendetta against the ex-husband. She's going to lie on the stand. But have you considered, homeboy, that it would actually be doubly more devastating to your case? He was psycho on his own. That's why we got divorced. That to me, yeah, no, that's not going to impeach her credibility. Why would you... It is just too good. It's too good.
People are invested into this. I'm just finding out.
You don't break into my house, make a mistake, and then sue me because as an American, all right, as an American, I use my freedom of speech and I talk about how you wasn't supposed to be in my house in the first place. And I use my talent to pay for the damages you brought. I didn't go down here and sue the police department. I fixed up the damages they made and I sung songs about them to raise money to do it. They were unapologetic. And I did it the most peaceful, positive way I thought I could. And I think I was a sport.
I respect that. He didn't sue. He didn't sue.
This AfroMan lawsuit has single-handedly provided me so much laughter. Like, what do you mean you kicked his door down, damaged his property, raided his house, took some of his belongings and money, frightened his family, didn't apologize for any of it, and ultimately turns out none of it was even founded? He alleges that some of his money was stolen from him when it was returned. The officer alleges, nah, bro, we just counted wrong the first time. Like, what? Also, the officer accused of stealing the money allegedly has been accused previously of stealing money before. So, and they tried to unplug his cameras, and then he dropped a diss track, and now you're suing him? Like, no disrespect, but hot take, I blame Drake. I blame Drake. Drake has warped the culture's understanding of how to properly respond to beef. Like, the only correct way to respond to beef is to get in the booth. What do you mean you took it to the courtroom? The police can't rap, allegedly. Taxpayer dollars would have been better spent on a ghostwriter and some studio time for the police. Maybe they could pull something together. You know, maybe they could do a country response. And it's like, the more you read into this case, the more you realize this dude is righteous. Like, he is in the right here. You know, they destroyed his door. They're not paying for it. They didn't apologize. So he raised money using his diss tracks to repair his house. I think he's a good Samaritan. He didn't decide to waste taxpayer dollars in filing a lawsuit against the police with too many sensitive, easily ignited public servants. If you know that you're the type that you're gonna reach for your firearm when somebody frowns at you, maybe don't be a police officer. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it's for the public's and your safeties that you're not in that position. If somebody's saying that you look like you want a slice of this pound cake is gonna get you to file a lawsuit, maybe don't be a police officer. Pound cake.
Why did they go in his house, though? Why did they just go in his crib?
The Adams County Sheriff kicked down my door.
AfroMan went on and wrote 3 songs about the incident. Using the security camera video, he then released a music video that quickly went viral.
Lemon pound cake, he wanna put down his Glock. Lemon pound cake, trending on TikTok.
After Lemon Pound Cake and Will You Help Me Repair My Door, AfroMan made merchandise, saying it was his way of getting justice. But 3 months later, he received a notice the officers involved in that raid were suing him, claiming they had suffered humiliation, ridicule, mental distress, embarrassment, and loss of reputation after the music videos were released. Their claim demanded they should receive the proceeds that AfroMan made using their image.
Whoa.
What's your response to that?
These big tough dudes that laugh when you ask them to help you put your door back on the hinge, it's turned into these little whiny crybabies complaining about my song. My only response to that was a rap song and a t-shirt.
A rap song and a t-shirt.
And don't ever waste my time like this again. As a matter of fact, to the sheriff deputies who sued AfroMan, go ahead and lay out your clothes for work tomorrow because you will be clocking in. I know for some reason y'all thought you were getting a check from AfroMan, and you will be getting a check. It's just not going to be from AfroMan. It'll be from your day job in 2 weeks like it normally is. Get to work. This case is crazy because y'all sued AfroMan because you didn't want the local community in Ohio making fun of you due to his post. But then because you sued AfroMan, the post went even more viral, and now I'm laughing at you in Atlanta, Georgia. Someone commented earlier today that they are laughing at you from Taiwan. Y'all were worried about Ohio the whole time. The videos are trending worldwide. It's just wild because the videos in question that AfroMan posted are mainly from 2022, and now they're going viral again in the big 2-6 because y'all decided to sue AfroMan after your feelings were hurt after you destroyed his house and seized his money. Let's get into the third and final day of the AfroMan trial. On the final day, we heard from AfroMan, and he summed up exactly what this trial is about.
The sheriff's never supposed to raid my house in the first place. The whole raid was a mistake. All of this is their fault. If they hadn't wrongly raided my house, there would be no lawsuit. I would not know their names. They wouldn't be on my body. They wouldn't be on my home surveillance system. And there would be no songs, nothing. My money would still be intact, nothing. So all of this is their fault.
In other words, don't start no stuff, won't be no stuff. One of my favorite witnesses was one of the sheriff deputy's ex-wives who was there to testify, but not for him. She was there on AfroMan's side. She said it was clear, even to the children that she worked with, that lemon pound cake and all the social media stuff was a joke. And so if the children can understand that, everyone else should too. For example, as AfroMan's attorney said, when philosopher Cardi B says a bucket and a mop, that's a wop, that's a wop, is she really talking about a bucket and a mop, or is she using artistic expression to talk about something else? Exactly. And the jury clearly agreed with the defense attorney because they basically said they wouldn't give the sheriff deputies a spare piece of change if it came down to it. The sheriff deputies left with nothing. Meanwhile, AfroMan, who was at about 200,000 something followers when the trial started, now has almost 500,000 followers. Well, class, what did we learn? Anyway, this was one of the most unserious trials I have ever seen in my life. Until next time, next case.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you are also watching the AfroMan trial, I am going to show you probably one of the more funny clips that I plucked from yesterday. And this is where one of the former deputies, who has now resigned his position because he couldn't handle being sent lemon pound cakes to the office.
Wow.
This is AfroMan's attorney questioning him on why the names AfroMan called him offended him so much. It's just pure comedy gold. Enjoy.
Can you tell me what fact about you that receding hairline or dipshit refers to, please?
I'm sorry?
What private fact of yours does that refer to?
I mean, there's a picture of me, and let's see here.
But you have a receding hairline. That's true.
Let's see. I wouldn't trust him with methamphetamine crack ass alone in my house.
So
I find that pretty insulting.
So that statement is what you're suing on?
Well, no. I told you this is one of many.
Well, and that's why you
keep trying to make it singular. I'm telling you it's not singular, it's plural.
Okay, and so one of them is dipshit, one is receding hairline, and the other is meth heads.
Yes.
Is there any more?
Well, when he's sitting there making accusations against the organization that I, at that time, was working for, destroying community trust, all based off of a lie, that's what ultimately stopped.
And that's community trust in the Adams County Sheriff's Department, correct?
Yes.
The way I giggled when this attorney asks him, are you really offended by dipshit and receding hairline? Like, really? Really? Also, he has a receding hairline, so that's true. So it's not defamation, sir. I can't. This is comedy gold. I can't wait to update you more on this today. Enjoy, AfroMan. Keep killing it in court. We love you. This is great. Keep fighting the good fight. Free speech. Love it. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Again, 10 out of 10. Okay, bye.
AfroMan getting some support out here. Okay.
You had an attorney when you got the cash returned, correct?
At the station?
Yes.
I had attorney, yeah, my attorney was present.
Did your attorney ask for a copy of this report?
It wasn't in it. When I got my cash back from the station, it wasn't an investigation until we realized money was missing.
Well, did you contact your attorney and say, hey, get me a copy of that report?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. While Mr. Klingler wants to talk about his client's attorney-client privilege in maybe way, but Mr. Foreman does have attorney-client privilege with his attorney at that time. And we are going to assert that privilege because it's a privilege he has of right.
And so far he hasn't asked anything privileged. So I appreciate the sensitivity, overrule the objection, and we'll pay attention. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Your testimony is you never saw a copy of Detective Robinson's report until today.
Yes, sir.
And that's because you didn't want to see a copy of the investigation.
I did want to see. You don't know what I want. I did want to see it.
You did.
I wanted everything that had something to do with my money coming.
And that was 3.5 years ago, correct? And you haven't seen a copy of that report that you wanted to see until this afternoon. Is that right?
That's right. I never had my money taken by cops. I didn't know how this go. I don't know about reports. All I know is live on Fox 19 News, the lady admits that her department is short $400 of my money. That's all I know. I don't know how to investigate police officers taking money.
That's all you know, and that's all you know today, isn't it?
Wow.
That's the whole basis of your claim that your money was stolen, is that the amount of money that was in the bags is different from the amount of money that was written on the bag.
Yeah, my whole thing is they never should have raided me in the first place.
That's your whole thing.
That's my whole thing.
That's the point,
That's my whole thing. If they never would have showed up, there would be no songs about them. I wouldn't know who they are. Their faces would not be on my video cameras. None of this, we wouldn't be in this room right now if they hadn't raided my house and didn't press no charges, didn't even know what they was doing. This whole thing is their fault, and they're suing me for their mistake.
And so you don't really care if they stole your money or not. You're just mad about what they did.
I do care about if they stole one. Police officers shouldn't be stealing the civilians' money. So I do care.
Right.
All of it is an outrage. This whole thing is an outrage.
You have no evidence that they took your money except for the amount on the bag isn't the same as the amount.
How about the lady admitting that she took?
Did you answer my question?
She admitted that she took my money on live Fox 19 News. Go argue with the film clip.
Yeah.
Oh, it got spicy in that courtroom, boy.
AfroMan was 100% right when he said his defamation suit win was not a win for him, but a win for America. So if you don't know, back in 2022, AfroMan's house in Ohio was raided by a bunch of deputies who had gotten bad information about drug trafficking and a potential kidnapping. When they entered his house back in 2022, not only did they physically break down his door via a no-knock warrant, but they also cut the feeds to his security surveillance cameras around his home and also stole money from him. And AfroMan's response was arguably one of the most American things a person could do. Utilize not only his freedom of speech, but his gift as a rapper to spread awareness about what had happened to him. He released a bunch of songs and music videos that basically made fun of and satirized the entire event, even though it was probably extremely traumatic for him. And the result of this was these deputies ended up trying to sue AfroMan, claiming that they caused a bunch of emotional distress and made it harder for them to do their jobs. I get it. Being made fun of on the internet is incredibly stressful and hard to handle when a bunch of people who don't know you are levying critiques about you. But at the same time, y'all should have never entered that man's home without some valid information and maybe knocking on his door first. Regardless, even though they filed the suit back in 2023, the results were just rendered yesterday, and AfroMan won. This entire thing and the result proves that sometimes your freedom of speech and your freedom of expression is sometimes the only thing you can utilize to combat oppressive systems. I think the greatest part about all of this is, by filing that lawsuit, the deputies basically enacted the Barbra Streisand effect. They brought more attention to themselves and what happened than had they just let it exist in the ether back in 2022. Because these videos that AfroMan created back in 2022 are yet again going viral because of the result of the trial.
This is honestly a landmark case for not only music and your lyrics not being able to be used against you in a court of law. Shout out to AfroMan for doing not only the right thing, but the smart thing to do to leverage his platform to make fun of these fools for messing with him.
Officer Lisa Phillips broke down in court as videos of AfroMan mocking her were played before the jury, turning a disputed police raid into a bitter legal fight over humiliation, privacy, and defamation. Wow. Phillips is suing AfroMan after he released multiple songs, videos, and social media posts that allegedly questioned her gender, mocked her appearance, and made repeated insinuations about her sexuality. Wow. During the hearing, her attorney played several of those clips in court, and Phillips reportedly began crying on the stand as the content was shown. The lawsuit stems from the 2022 raid on AfroMan's home, when officers searched the property on suspicion of kidnapping and drug trafficking. No charges followed, but the raid itself became a major point of controversy. AfroMan later claimed officers took cash, disconnected his cameras, and damaged parts of his property, including his gate and door. Instead of letting the incident die, he turned it into content. That is where this case shifts, because what may have started as a musician publicly mocking a police raid has now become a legal question of whether that mockery crossed into defamation and invasion of privacy. AfroMan's supporters see it as retaliation against an overreaching raid. Phillips' lawsuit argues it became something much more personal and damaging. Now the court has to decide where protest ends and public humiliation begins.
This is crazy, bro.
I didn't win. America won. America still has freedom of speech. It's still for the people, by the people.
AfroMan becoming emotional there as he says this fight was bigger than him. It was about free speech and what he describes as corruption in this sheriff's department. I spoke to one supporter who came all the way from Dallas. I have more on that and more reaction from the rapper tonight at 11. In Adams County, Jay Shakur, WCPO 9 News.
Freedom of speech.
How would you know I didn't take a shower? Hair clumpy, probably matted, probably got dirt all over me. That's how you would see. That's how you would prove if that's an opinion or fact. Now, even then you might say Dave just fell in the mud. But no reasonable person would take it in the vacuum. And I want you to think about everything in context. What rap is music, how it's entertainment, how the language works on it, how jokes are made. I want you to think back to that, because that colors how you see it. I love picking on Joe. He's a good sport for it. Look at that suit. Does this look like a man who thinks that everybody's going to assume that everything he's saying is fact? I mean, he's like a comedian. He exaggerates for the sake of entertainment. That's who he is. I'm not going to say it's tasteful to everyone, but some people do find it entertaining. I asked an important question about them. I said, do you believe everything in the newspaper? No. Do you believe everything you read on the internet? No. We all know that to be true. A reasonable person knows that. People can post opinions, social commentary, and hurtful things all over the internet. And it is just to be expected. That's why we are supposed to use our own filter, use our common sense, use our experiences in life. So while hurtful, it was not fact. It was music, entertainment. Stuff that no reasonable person would understand, especially not a public official, because we see it on TV all the time. We see it on the internet. You see it on Facebook. Sometimes people want to turn off Facebook because there's so much political commentary and stuff. But that's expected. Do I expect everything I read is fact? I don't even think most of it's fact. I think it's everybody's opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one and it stinks. But that doesn't mean they can't have them. That doesn't mean they can't express them, and that doesn't mean they can't make a song about it.
That's real. That is real. He said, look at his suit.
The wildest thing about the AfroMan case is that AfroMan sounded more competent than the opposing lawyer. Now, as a lawyer, I'm sure that you pick cases like if someone comes up to you and says, hey, I want to do this. Like, you could say no. Like, there was nothing in this case. And I'm not really 100% sure how these things work. You know, I did watch Suits, so I know a little bit. I'm practically an expert. But it's like, there's no juror that's siding against AfroMan. Like no one with sense. They broke into his place, right? Wrongfully, right? They weren't supposed to do it. They took his money, and he made Lemon Pound Cake. That song's a classic. Y'all should go listen to it.
Classic.
And he rightfully won, because putting someone in a music video, or not even putting someone, because they weren't actually in the music video, right? He used security footage from his house, and then he just exaggerated. Like, obviously, he called one of them a PDF, which I guess was true. I'm not 100% sure, but he said that these were facts, and they said it on the news. Realistically, if I was those police officers, I would have never said anything. Like, I would have never brought this to light. I would have just, you know, watched the video and be like, all right, cool. Let's hope no one sees it. But now everyone's going to see it. And people that are shocked that AfroMan exists, like, bro, AfroMan's been famous for like 20-something years. Like, I swear he came out with that Colt 45 song, like, before I was born. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. You know, shout out AfroMan. That was... If anyone has time, if you have time, go through and watch the clips from that trial. Like, it's actually comedy. And that's probably the most entertaining thing I've seen on TikTok this year.
AfroMan getting them followers up, boy.
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman. But we all know that's not true, correct? I don't know.
Randy Walters is the son of a bitch.
He's singing?
Yeah, that's why I fucked his wife and got filthy rich.
Oh, snap.
Cheating on me with Mr. Foreman. But we all know that's not true, correct? I don't know.
He don't know.
So you're solely being painted in a false light due to Mr. Walters saying he had sex with your wife. Mr. Walters does have sex with his wife. Mr. Foreman doesn't. Good catch on that. Yeah. So you're claiming that is the defamation statement, is that he said he had sex with your wife? Yes. Okay. And that's painted you in a false light? It's caused tremendous pain in my life. I'll get to that. We have to go through false light first. So does it paint you in a false light? Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman. But we all know that's not true, correct? I don't know.
Whoa. You don't know?
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not? You want to go there? No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know. I just been with that woman since middle school. I know. I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. And it's a problem. So it's something we cannot verify the truth of?
Oh. He turning red.
Is it a thing that can be verified, true or false? Ask your client. Your Honor, I'm going to ask her direct the witness to answer the question, yes or no, please.
You don't like his answer doesn't mean he didn't answer it.
He didn't answer the question. He's told me to ask another person. That is not an answer to the question.
So ask him another question.
Okay.
Really?
That was his answer. You didn't like how it came out, but it was his answer. They can't make him say something else. You can ask him another question.
Wow.
And so are you claiming that Mr. Foreman saying he had sex with your wife is a private fact about your life?
Wow.
My family is a private part of my life. About your wife?
Whoa.
Him having an affair with my wife would definitely be a private part of my life if that was occurring.
This is spicy.
I ended up leaving the sheriff's office just because of this, because of being caught on a thief.
Explain to us just a little more about why that was so upsetting that you actually left your job.
Because the sheriff's office, so I'm from Adams County, is where all my family and friends are from. The sheriff's office was my dream job, my position. I was friends with everybody. and it was where I plan to stay. It's been my career. I dedicated a lot of time, over 10 years, to Adams County. You know, whether it was calling at 1 o'clock in the morning or working 14 hours, I dedicated a lot of my time to Adams County, and I loved working at the sheriff's office. But it just got to be so much. If you go to a call or take a phone call or you make a traffic stop, something said. You go to Walmart, something said. I stopped going to my kids' games for a little bit because every time I would show up, everybody would be looking at me or something would be said to me. It just spared their embarrassment.
So when did you leave the sheriff's office?
I ended up leaving in October of 2023.
You have, do your kids' friends come to your house and hang out?
They don't anymore.
Did they used to?
They used to have huge slumber parties, especially on their birthdays. They'd have 10 or 11 kids over, and essentially once this started, it stopped. I don't recall the last time my daughters have had a friend over, if they've had one ever since then.
This is messy as hell, bro.
Detective, did you ask Mr. Foreman to take down these posts?
I didn't personally.
Did you through your attorney?
Yes.
And have they been taken down?
No.
Are they still there?
Yes.
Those are all of my questions. Thank you.
Is it true that Mr. Foreman called you a hunchback?
Yes.
And specifically compared you to Quasimodo?
What?
Yes.
The Disney hero?
Oh, hell no! Bro, what is going on?
I'm assuming that's who it is.
Quasimodo from the Disney movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame?
I've never watched it, so I don't know.
So you would agree that when a person says that someone's a crooked defense attorney, they're not meaning that I'm like a vine, they're meaning that as a opinion, correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that when someone calls you a thief, it might be an opinion of theirs?
Can be, yeah.
Same as if when people say crooked cops, it's just an opinion?
Yeah.
And so is your entire claim for false light that you were called a thief?
Yes.
Got him.
And you would agree that Mr. Foreman is an artist subject to exaggeration?
I guess so, yeah.
And just for the sake of question, nobody would ever think you're Quasimodo from the book, correct?
I don't guess. People think different things.
Oh my God. He's smiling. Look at this shit.
I'm going to try really hard to talk about this without laughing. Millennials, the rapper AfroMan is back in the news, and you're never going to believe why. So apparently a few years back, the police raided his home, accusing him of some serious crimes like kidnapping and substances. Use your imagination with that. They go and they tear the place apart, right? Well, they found absolutely nothing, okay? But what they didn't realize was that AfroMan had security cameras that were rolling the entire time. After these police officers have destroyed his home for no reason, and he has all this footage of them, he decides to use it in his new music videos. He used their real faces, he called them out, and it went viral. Apparently, the officers have sued him, demanding millions for ruining their reputations.
Wow.
Now, I have to say that the most pivotal, important part of this entire police raid is when the officers discover lemon pound cake in AfroMan's kitchen.
What?
Officers were caught on his security footage discussing this lemon pound cake, and so AfroMan turned it into the hook of his new song. It goes like, lemon pound cake, it's a banger, look it up.
It's
so anyway,
banger?
they're suing him, right?
It's a
AfroMan
banger?
shows up to court in this like red, white, and blue like suit. I mean, he looked awesome, actually. Shows up to court and he won. He won. He doesn't have to pay them anything. The judge said that all of this was protected under free speech. So he won, which is awesome. And I hope that he celebrated his win with a Colt 45 and 2 zigzags, because baby, that's all we need.
So you're claiming that is the defamation statements that he said he had sex with your wife?
Yes.
Okay. And that's painted you in a false light?
It's caused tremendous pain in my life.
I'll get to that. We have to go through false light
Why are
first. So
face
does
like
it paint
that?
you in a false light?
Yes, that my wife is cheating on me with Mr. Foreman.
But we all know that's not true, correct?
I don't know.
Why she left?
I mean, he's not helping his case at all. They're supposed to be establishing that their situation is being painted in a false light, meaning that it's not true. And now he's saying, well, it may be true. Maybe my wife was with AfroMan.
Wait, you don't know if your wife's cheating on you or not?
They laughing at this guy.
You want to go there?
No, I just want to ask that question because you said we don't know.
I've been with that woman since middle school. I would hope she wouldn't. But you know what? Once somebody puts it out there for their fun and entertainment, it's out there. And it's a problem.
So it's something we cannot verify the truth of?
She is cracking up at this guy. Look.
Is it a thing that can be verified, true or false?
Ask your client.
What they did, searching your house, gave you the right to do everything you
Under the circumstance that I got freedom of speech, after they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so. Because I don't go to their house, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
Police raided AfroMan's home over alleged drugs and kidnapping, and yet somehow the real star of the show was some lemon pound cake. In 2022, deputies showed up with a warrant to AfroMan's home with some bad information. They kicked down his gate, searched his house, and unplugged his security cameras. According to AfroMan, his home was damaged, cash went missing, and he wasn't compensated for any of the damages.
Crazy.
And after all that, there were no serious drugs, no kidnapping. There was really just a perfectly innocent lemon pound cake sitting on the counter. Here's the part that made the internet lose it. During the raid, one of the officers stops and looks at that pound cake like he's gonna take a slice of it for himself. Full tactical gear, weapons drawn. I'm just wondering if he had a tactical plate, knife, and fork for that pound cake that it looks like he wanted to eat so very badly. Most people would have either not fought back at all or just called a lawyer.
Right.
But not AfroMan. He made music videos, immortalizing the moment when an officer stopped his very serious raid to admire some delectable dessert.
He does say out loud how much money he thinks he took.
$4,390.
Here's a phrase I never thought I'd say. I actually think I have the technical expertise to help to explain an issue in the AfroMan lemon pound cake trial. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI. If you missed my last video on this trial, go check it out because it's a hilarious situation that's unfolding in an Ohio County courtroom right now. But one of the issues that's going on is this allegation that this officer stole $400 from AfroMan. Now, the officer is saying that he has been a victim of defamation because of these false claims. But here's the thing about defamation. It ain't defamation if it's true. I've collected a lot of money in my career, and let me tell you, it's a giant pain in the ass. But anytime I collected money, I always did it on body camera footage. So that was the first thing that I did when I heard about this claim, was to go and look for the body cam footage. So here it is, it's sped up, and you can see that the officer is wearing his body camera and he's counting the money. But there's a really big issue with this body camera footage, which is that you can't really see him counting the money because he's often moving, and so the money is down here out of frame and you can't see what he's doing with his hands. And then when he goes to pick it up, he picks it up in this like crazy order, which doesn't make any sense. Here's what I always did anytime I had money as evidence. I would see the money, I would call for an officer with a body camera. As soon as he came in the room, I would say, turn your body camera on, so that my full body, hands, body, pockets, everything was depicted on his body camera. And then I would count out loud in full view of the body cam so that the camera footage was me, the money, where I was placing it, and I would say, okay, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. And I would put the money in very clean, organized stacks of, you know, $100 or $20 or whatever the increments were. And then at the end, I would pick up all of those stacks and say 100, 200, 300, 400. Okay, I have $4,390. Do you agree? And then the officer would either agree with me or he would say, that's not what I got. And then I would say, shit. And we would count it again. And once we agreed on the count, the money would go into an evidence bag. I would immediately seal it. I would initial across the seal, write the dollar amount across the seal and on the evidence label. And then the officer who witnessed the count would also initial that seal so that there was never any question. That's not what happened here. After he counted this, he took the money downstairs in the kitchen and left it there, and it's not on body camera. So who knows what happened to it after that? According to the search warrant return, they collected $5,031. This $4,390 and then a separate amount of money was also collected, I think, from an office somewhere. Now, when AfroMan went to get his money back from the police department because they were not going to seize it, there were no criminal charges being filed, he took the news with him.
Both bags were sealed.
He took the news with him?
Not been open since he. So that's the $641.
$641 in one bag, $43.90 in the second
Counted the
bag.
cash, and the numbers didn't add up. The cash seized by officers that day
Oh, my
was
goodness.
$400 short.
On Fox News?
So that makes me think that somebody took that amount specifically.
On
That's
the
not
news?
a accidental amount.
That bag that allegedly had $4,390 in it only had $4,000. It's $390 missing. And then the second bag has $10 missing. So you have two bags of money, each missing money. So either this guy can't count or somebody skimmed off the top. The problem is it's not criminal to be stupid. So if you just can't fucking count, that's why the policy that he didn't follow says that there should be two people present during the count. Two people should count the money in case one person miscounts, you have somebody else. Miscounts do happen, usually not two miscounts in a row and usually not by $390, but okay. The irony is not lost on me that the police falsely accused AfroMan of kidnapping, drug trafficking, etc., but they're all getting all butthurt because he allegedly falsely accused them of theft, although he actually has more evidence against them than they have against him. Interesting, huh?
Mr. Foreman's song Lemon Pound Cake, did they take that as a literal fact from your observations?
No.
Were they laughing and joking about it?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Are you familiar with the song WAP?
Oh my goodness, WAP.
I think I've heard
I'm sorry,
it.
no, strike that. I'm going to give you the complete song and then summarize it because I only want to say it once. Are you familiar with the song Wet Ass Pussy?
Yes.
Is that a rap song?
It is.
Has your students played it in class?
Once, and I asked them to please turn it off.
When they were listening to it, did they think that was fact?
No.
So they didn't think that that was depicting anything in real life?
No.
What
so
is
you
going
didn't
on?
have to teach them that wasn't real?
Right. No, I did not.
You've heard the song, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you believe it's a literal interpretation?
No.
Would you agree it's derogatory towards women?
No.
Even though it says nasty things about them?
Yeah. No. I mean, it's the artist's opinion, I guess. That's the way I feel.
Maybe not an opinion you like, but...
Yeah.
So,
That's real.
Ms. Grooms, has Mr. Foreman's posts about Sean or any of the general posts about the Adams County Sheriff's Department as a whole affected your life any at all?
No.
Would you believe it would have affected your life while you were married to Sean?
If it had any effect, I guess that would be the time it would have an effect.
But as his spouse, you would have expected it?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want you to go into too many details, but is it fair to say that Mr. Foreman, the posts about the police department and everything had not a damn thing to do with your relationship between you and Sean and
No.
White
Cursing in the court?
No, it did not.
So the posts never affected your life, never affected your marriage?
No.
Okay. So any statement to the contrary would be false?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
The song that Mr. Osborne asked you about, does that song refer to a specific identifiable person?
I don't think so.
The music video making fun of her depicts her eating a part of a woman. This is simultaneously one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen and absolutely fucking enraging. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI, and if you're not aware of the AfroMan trial that's going on this week, buckle up. Okay, so a little bit of backstory if you're not familiar with this. A couple of years ago, in August of 2022, AfroMan's house was raided. There was a confidential informant who allegedly gave information to officers about drug trafficking and maybe kidnapping. So they busted down the door to his house. They came in with a no-knock search warrant and raided his house. He was not arrested. There were no charges that came as a result of this. But because they broke down the door, they did cause a lot of damage to his house. And AfroMan alleges that when the police seized money from his house, they stole $400 from him. This led to a defamation case because AfroMan wrote a song called Lemon Pound Cake. And if you haven't seen the video yet, just go to YouTube and watch the video because it's fucking hilarious. Basically, it's a music video that is set primarily to surveillance footage from the raid. And there's a moment where one of these officers looks at a lemon pound cake, like does a double take of this lemon pound cake. And so there's a song where AfroMan is making fun of the deputy. And so the deputy and 6 of his colleagues sued AfroMan for defamation. And the officers are literally crying about this. Like literally, this officer, who's one of the officers who is suing AfroMan, was on the witness stand crying, literally crying about this. And this is where it goes from funny to enraging, because as a public servant, you can be filmed and you can be criticized and people call you all sorts of names and people can make fun of you. And that is just kind of part of the gig. And if you are so emotionally unstable that you are going to cry about that in court, I would argue like, this ain't the job for you, babe. I mean, the music video making fun of her depicts her eating a part of a woman. So it's not nice. It's not nice, but it is like funny. I'm sorry, it's funny. And AfroMan is obviously laughing about this because this is how he appeared in court, wearing this ridiculous suit. And he wore this on the witness stand with the American flag sunglasses and everything. Like, it's obviously a joke to him because he knows he can say whatever the fuck he wants to in rap songs. It's freedom of speech. It's not defamatory. Like, this is one of the deputies who is suing. This is the guy who looked at the lemon pound cake, suing for defamation over this song about looking at a piece of fucking lemon pound cake, which is just, again, it's funny, but it's not funny because, like, come on. And he's talking about what he has endured. And in his testimony, he's like, I've received hundreds of pound cakes that have been sent to me at work. Dude, that's a fucking win. Eat the pound cake. Like, yeah, if there's footage of you like looking at a pound cake and it goes viral, your buddies on the force are gonna fuck with you about that and drop off pound cake at your desk. But like, good for you. Now you have cake. I love cake. Eat the cake, guy. You know what I mean? And lemon pound cake, delicious. This guy is another one of the deputies who's suing, and he got all mad because I guess there's a line in one of the songs where AfroMan says that he's fucking this cop's wife, and the attorney is like, well, is he actually? And he's like, like gets all mad, and the attorney's like, well, is he? And he's like, we've been together since middle school. It's like, dude, come on. It's a literal playground insult for somebody to be like, I'm gonna fuck your wife, and you respond by suing. Like, again, it's funny, but it's not funny. If you're a police officer and you can't handle this level of scrutiny of people making funny music videos about you and giving you pound cake, and you feel the need to litigate this in court, like, you've got to get a fucking grip. And the really funny thing about this is that now the music videos have millions of views. Like, I have not thought about AfroMan since high school when that song came out, and I went and watched it, and then I watched it again and showed my husband, and after this I'm probably gonna go eat some lemon pound cake and watch it again.
All right, guys, that was another TikTok compilation, man. That was of the AfroMan in the court case. Crazy. I haven't heard the song yet. I might go check it out. They talking about it's a banger. Crazy. What y'all think about this, bro? Drop in the comments. What do y'all think about this whole case and all that freedom of speech? But look, if you made it this far, you a real one for real, man. Don't forget to put that. Also, I got a TikTok playlist. If you into this stuff, you can binge watch, but proceed with caution. But till next time, self-love and positivity. All right, squad, I got you and you know it.